Good morning friends, I am Arun Maurya. Welcome in my channel HSC Learning Academy. So friends, as we continue from occupational diseases and occupational diseases types, today we are going to discuss about some more details of occupational diseases and its types. So the first one is about chromium related illness. So as study shows that chronic exposure to chromium in the occupational environment most often result in contact with dermatitis and ulceration of the skin and nasal mucosa. Hexavalent chromium is the most toxic form of chromium. Inhalation of chromium dust mist or fumes can produce acute bronchoconstriction, probably through a direct irritant mechanism. Industrial uses of hexavalent chromium compound include chromate pigments in dyes, paints, inks and plastics. As we all know that many industries working on this field and producing products, and commonly these types of product is always used in manufacturing of the product. And chromates added as anti-corrosive agents to paints, primers and provide a decorative or protective coatings. Hexavalent chromium can also be formed when performing hot work such as welding or stainless steel are hexavalent, but the high temperature involved in the process result in oxidation that converts the chromium to a hexavalent state. So the high risk occupational, as we can see here, the high risk occupational exposure to chromium are due to the following, like welding stainless steel, heating or machining chromium alloys, mining or crushing of chromium ores, plating metal with chromium, and producing chromium alloys or chromate pigments. So continue in this series, producing chromium alloys or chromate pigments, removing chromate containing paints by abrasive blasting, spraying and sanding chromate containing paints, using chromates or dichromates in printing, using chromates or dichromates in tanning, working as a cement floorer with exposure to chromate salts. This is all about the high risk of occupational exposure due to chromium. As OSHA said that permissible exposure limit for hexavalent chromium is 5 microgram per meter cube for an 8 hours time weighted average. So the next one is coal dust related illness. As study shows that coal dust related illness is all around in mining environment. So the coal workers pneumoconiosis, also known as black lung disease, is a lung disease caused by inhaling coal mine dust. Although some miners never develop the disease, others may develop the early sign after less than 10 years of mining experience. According to the recent studies by NIOSH, about 1 of every 20 miners participating in our program has X-ray evidence of some pneumoconiosis. In its early stages, called simple pneumoconiosis, the disease may not prevent an employee from working or carrying on most normal activities. In some of miners, the disease never comes more severe. In others miners, the disease progresses from simple to its complicated stages, a condition also called progressively massive fibrosis, which is called PMF in short. Unfortunately, there is no cure for the damage that the must has already done to the lungs. However, preventing coal workers, pneumoconiosis is among the highest priorities in protecting the health of the coal miners. The current study from OSHA shows that permissible exposure limit for the respirable fraction of coal dust is less than 5%. Silica is 2.4 mg per meter cube time weighted average concentration. So the next one is cobalt related illness, in which I have included two types of cobalt related illness. The first one is about acute exposure and the second one is about chronic exposure. So we are going to discuss the first one, acute exposure. Acute exposure to cobalt metal dust and fumes is characterized by irritation of the eyes and to a lesser extent irritation of the skin. Insensitized individual exposure causes an asthma-like attack with wheezing, bronchospasm, and dyspnea. Ingestion of cobalt may cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and a sensation of hotness. So the second one is chronic exposure. Chronic exposure to cobalt metal dust or fumes may cause respiratory or dermatologic signs and symptoms. After skin sensitization, contact with cobalt causes eruption of dermatitis in creases and on frictional surfaces. Cobalt exposure causes an obstructive lung disease with wheezing, cough, and shortness of breath. Chronic respiratory exposure results in reduced lung function, increased fibrotic changes on the chest X-ray, production of scanty mucoid sputum, and shortness of breath. Chronic cobalt poisoning may cause polycythemia, hyperplasia of the bone marrow and thyroid gland, pericardial effusion, and damage to the alpha cells of the pancreas. High risk occupational exposure to cobalt are as follows. We can see here: machining cobalt alloys, manufacturing cemented carbide material or tools, or using cemented carbide materials or tools. The current study from OSHA shows that the permissible exposure limit for cobalt metal dust and fumes is 0.1 mg per meter cube of air as an 8 hours TWA concentration. If you want this document, you can also refer the Code of Federal Regulation 29 CFR 1910.1000, table number Z1. The next one is formaldehyde related illness. So, studies indicate that formaldehyde is a potential human carcinogen. Formaldehyde is a colorless, strong smelling gas commonly used as a preservative in medical laboratories. Formaldehyde is also found in other products such as chemical particle boards, household products, glues, permanent press fabrics, paper, product coating, fiberboard, and plywood. It is also widely used as an industrial fungicide, germicides, and disinfectants. Worker can inhale formaldehyde as a gas or vapor, or absorb it through the skin as a liquid. They can be exposed during the treatment of textile and the production of resins. Besides healthcare professional and medical laboratories technician, groups at potentially high risk include mortuary employees as well as teachers and students who handle biological specimens preserved with formaldehyde or formalin. The permissible exposure limit for formaldehyde in all workplaces including general industry, construction and maritime but not in agriculture covered by OSH Act is 0.75 ppm measured as an 8 hours TWA. The standards include a 2 ppm short-term exposure limit. Example, maximum exposure allowed during a 15-minute period. The action level is 0.5 ppm measured over 8 hours. The OSHA standard for formaldehyde is 29 CFR 1910.1048. You can also refer this document for more details about formaldehyde related illness. Thank you for watching. If you have any doubt in this topic, you can directly ask through comment box.